Hello and a very warm welcome. You know, what happens when we die? It's probably the biggest question we can ever ask ourselves. And in this explainer, we're going to journey through some of the incredible, profound answers that humanity has wrestled with for thousands of years. So let's just dive right into the heart of it, shall we? Is death a full stop, the absolute final end of your story? Or is it more like a comma, just a brief pause before the next chapter begins? Think about it. For literally all of human history, this single question has shaped everything: our religions, our art, and even the way we choose to live our lives, day in and day out. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by unpacking that ultimate question. Then, we'll look at the ancient hope for immortality. After that, we'll face the tough challenge from science, explore how to find meaning in a finite life, and finally, we'll talk about creating your very own purpose. Sound good? Let's get started. So first things first, what are we actually asking when we talk about death being a final path? You see, this isn't just a question about biology. It's a deeply philosophical one. It's about the entire trajectory of our existence. Are we on a path that just ends? Or is it a path that actually leads somewhere else? This core dilemma has really been the engine driving so much of human thought. Now, historically, the most common, and let's be honest, the most comforting answer has always been that no, death isn't the end at all. The idea is that some part of us continues on long after our bodies have failed. And this brings us to the concept of an immortal soul, which is really a cornerstone of so many worldviews. It basically says that your true self, your consciousness, your essence, isn't physically tied to your body. It can exist on its own. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato, for example, had a fascinating take on this. He saw death not as an end, but as a kind of liberation. For him, the whole point of philosophy was to practice separating the soul's focus from all the body's distractions. So death was just the final, complete separation, a transition for the soul, not its destruction. Centuries later, René Descartes pushed this idea even further. He argued that the mind and the body are two totally different kinds of things. I mean, you can divide a body, right? You can lose an arm or a leg, but can you lose half of your consciousness? Descartes said no way. For him, the mind was like a driver in a car. Even if the car, the body, breaks down for good, the driver just gets out and walks away. And this idea has had some serious staying power. Much more recently, thinkers like William James argued that believing in an afterlife is what gives our moral choices weight and dignity. And Immanuel Kant, he called the immortality of the soul one of the ultimate questions our minds just can't help but ask, even if, as he was quick to admit, we can probably never prove the answer one way or the other. Okay, so we have this powerful, long-standing argument for a soul that lives on. But now let's look at how a more modern, scientific worldview started to really challenge that very idea. And this right here is the major hurdle for the immortal soul. It's called the theory of production, and it suggests that the mind isn't a driver in a car at all. No, it's more like the song that a radio produces. If you smash the radio, the song stops. The logical challenge it presents is pretty straightforward, if you follow the steps. 1. The brain produces consciousness. 2. At death, the brain stops working, which leads to the big question mark. 3. Does consciousness therefore end too? This simple cause and effect line of reasoning is a really powerful argument that our awareness might truly end when we die. But then you have a great skeptic like David Hume who comes along and challenges this entire way of thinking. He argued that our belief in cause and effect isn't based on logic. It's just a habit of mind, a custom. We have zero proof of what happens beyond our own experience, and that includes after death. For Hume, any belief in an afterlife wasn't based on evidence, but really on imagination and hope. So this scientific and skeptical challenge, it leads us to a fascinating and I think really powerful new question. If this life is all there is, if this is our one and only shot, well, how in the world do we make it meaningful? For the philosopher Epicurus, our mortality wasn't a curse. It was actually a gift. He argued that knowing our time is limited is precisely what makes every single moment so precious. If you can truly live each day as if it's your last, you'll be filled with this incredible gratitude for every moment you have. The Stoics, like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, totally agreed. They made it a daily practice to contemplate death, Not to be morbid or gloomy, but to use it as a tool for living a better life. Thinking about your own end helps you rise above all the petty anxieties and silly desires, and it helps you focus on what really truly matters. Now, stick with me here because this next idea from the 20th century philosopher Martin Heidegger is, well, it's a bit of a mind-bender. For him, death isn't some event that just happens at the end of your life. No, it's woven into your existence from the very start. From the moment we're born, we are beings moving toward our own end. And he argued that authentically facing this fact is the absolute key to understanding what it even means to be human. And this brings us beautifully to the existentialists who took this whole idea of finding meaning in a finite life and placed the responsibility for it squarely on our own shoulders. So, the crucial point is this. For existentialist thinkers, we're born into a universe that doesn't just hand us a prepackaged meaning. Jean-Paul Sartre said we are condemned to be free, completely free to invent our own values. Albert Camus called this the absurd, and he urged us to rebel against it by living and creating with passion. And Friedrich Nietzsche, he saw art as the ultimate way we can impose meaning and beauty onto a world that on its own has none. So, as we've journeyed through all this, we've really seen three great paths of thought emerge. The first is the path of immortality, which hopes that death is just a transition for the soul. The second is the path of materialism, which sees death as a final end. And the third path, well, it finds a powerful call to action in that very finality, urging us to create our own meaning, right here and right now. And this, of course, brings the question right back to each and every one of us. This isn't just some abstract philosophical debate. It's the most personal question there is. How does your own awareness of life's finality, your own mortality, influence your choices, your values, and the meaning you find in your days?
There are obviously no easy answers here, only really profound questions. I would genuinely love to hear your perspective on all this. Please share your thoughts and any questions you might have down in the comments section.
If you found this journey through these big ideas valuable, please consider liking this explainer and subscribing for more. Thank you so much for watching and for thinking along with me.